So in my last video about playing Skyrim only using the Wabberjack, I got shot in the knee and I said this. I got shot in the knee and it was there I found my destiny is to become a Whiterun guard. Coupled with a request I got in the comments, here we are today. Ladies and gentlemen, today we will see how a mere Whiterun guard managed to defeat Alduin and single-handedly delayed a Kelpic cycle for the second time. The rules of this challenge are really quite simple. As the guards of Whiterun are Nords, I will be playing as a Nord. Nords have a knack for detesting use of magic, so I will be using only weapons. In addition to this, I will be able to use only the weapons and armour that a Whiterun guard will typically use. If you venture into battle with one or more of these guards, you will usually see they have two weapons, one for close combat and one having a bow. I will be sure to use only the weapons that align with the same idea and is in their stock. I'm not going to lie, I completely forgot about the armor requirement in the very first section, so please do forgive this transgression and let's move on. I ran past the group of enemies here and led them into the room of spiders. A couple of Stormcloaks who survived this encounter were quickly finished off by my extremely powerful sword. I got to the Guardian Stones and chose the Warrior Stone Blessing for obvious reasons, then I swam the rest of the way to Riverwood while catching fish. The second I got into Riverwood for the first time, this weird elf fellow asked if I had talked to Sven, even though he just saw me enter for the first time. Then Sven said the same thing to me about the elf fellow. It's a weird relationship, but it must be a bro thing. I simply do not know. I jumped and missed this sign, and out of embarrassment I immediately left the town to continue my swim to Whiterun. I reached Whiterun and oh my god, snap.
I work with my mother to sell fruits and vegetables. It's fun most days, but hard work.
The Jarl told me that we need to speak to their court jester urgently, and I saw just how urgent it actually was by watching him run very fast to the jester. I wanted to get the guard armor now, so I decided to have a 1v1 with this guard and found I was actually no match for him. Knowing this, I made myself aware that the clothes that I'm currently wearing is deemed as cheating, so I did the only right thing and went to someone's tomb wearing no clothes at all. You know the drill for getting through this place without damaging enemies. Then I went to fight a dragon. This is where I got to loot the corpse of my guard friends and steal their clothes to wear for myself. I made my way down the river towards Iverstad while catching more fish as normal. Then I found a skeever who was being a real pain, so I just started crying. My crying was a little bit too much for the emotional well-being of this rat, and it proceeded to immediately drop dead. I took some supplies from Klimek as he is too old and frail to go up a flight of stairs, killed a wolf while going up said stairs, and came face to face with some spooky looking robed fellas. One of them broke the floor without even considering how now he needs to deal with insurance, and I made sure to teach that lesson by crying to the robed fella's ancestors before running right through Wolfgar. On my way to steal their daddy's big horn, I found Maik the liar, who had some interesting comments to share about the world.
Where bears? Where? Bears? Men that are bears? Dragons were never gone. They were just invisible and very, very quiet. It does not matter to Maik how strong or smart one is. It only matters what one can do. Maik is tired now. Go bother somebody else.
I made my way through Ustengrove, dying a few times in the process, but killing every single enemy as I went through. I know that is quite rare in these challenges, so please have a pat on the back for me. And to utterly no one's surprise, the horn has been stolen by the shady lady who was talking to the court jester before. Said shady lady wanted me to go to some dragon burial ground to see a dragon get resurrected. Wanting to play along with her religious nonsense, I decided to see this for myself. Knowing that she is just a bit unwell and this is not actually real, I returned instead to Whiterun, stole a bunch of food with the intention of making vegetable soup. Vegetable soup grants the player 1 stamina point per second, and given power attacks and shield bashes only need 1 stamina point to perform, this essentially makes me able to do big things really fast.
Wow, that is delicious. Finally, some good fucking food.
On my way to see the resurrection, I found a Spriggan trap, and when looking back, I don't know what the hell all of this is, but apparently an entire army was out to get me. Turns out the resurrection was actually real, so we proceeded to fight the dragon together. Now that I have the Shady Lady's trust, she sends me to the heart of Thalmor operations within Skyrim. I did press her about why she feels the Thalmor are responsible for the dragon's return, and it was there in a conversation with her I found just a bit of racism against them. She literally has nothing to point to the dragon's return being linked to them. Regardless, I go to the Thalmor embassy and begin my job of killing everyone inside. Now, normally I find this mission in particular to be very difficult. The Thalmor are relentless fighters, going with melee and magic, close and far combat all at once. They are hard to beat in a group. I somehow managed to get through this entire mission without dying a single time. On a side note, combining all the different consoles I've played this game on, I have now played for over 1,000 hours, and I have literally never managed to get through this mission without dying even once, so it was a truly remarkable achievement for me. Now that you know how cripplingly low my standards are, I made sure that the wood elf who got me into this place never left and instead was killed by the frost troll right at the last room. Telling the Shady Lady that the Thalmor know nothing about the dragon's return, I told her that the Thalmor are looking for answers themselves and are seeking said answers from some old guy called Esbern.
That crazy old
I managed to find Esbern, and then the other innkeeper didn't like him all that much and immediately started sweeping all the floor dust directly onto him. I found that Esbern has a really expensive book, so I decided to steal it for myself to make a personal profit. Then I went back to Whiterun and bought a house, just to make sure that the other Whiterun guards know that they are forever lesser than I am, and they should all be ashamed of themselves for that. I'm basically a politician in this universe. On our way to Skyhaven Temple, we had a lovely encounter with a dragon. I got to see firsthand how these blades handle dragon combat, given that blades seem to have dragon combat as their entire thing. Spoiler alert, they were both pretty crap. Once the dragon was defeated by me, they just stood there in place, refusing to move for literal in-game days. I did the only logical thing and abandoned them then and there, hoping to never see their hopeless faces again. Knowing that I do not care even the slightest bit for their well-being, they decided to get their act together and join me in a fight against the forsworn enemies. On our way to the entrance to the temple, Esbern decided to block my path to safety, and was a direct result in my death. I would not let him or Delphine forget that, and I will be sure to repay their kindness in due time. We made it to a big wall where the blades of old inscribed their kids' drawing on the wall and had a little laugh and said it was a prophecy. Said prophecy was then passed down generation to generation, and here we are today, still falling for their little prank. I went back to the spooky hooded men from before, and their leader refused to help me stop the end of the world, so another one of their members proceeded to threaten them into submission. I then used that same logic to threaten the wind to go away, and use this to ascend to the top of the world. From this high up, I can in fact confirm that the world is in fact flat. I met Paarthurnax, the dragon who is the masked leader behind the hooded men, and made sure he landed right on top of me. I can see that his horn was the one that was in the tomb from earlier in the game, and it just makes me hope that the hooded men do their unspeakable acts with it behind closed doors. Ooh. I spoke some nonsense to some guy who gave me a couple of shapes, then began the journey to the land of glowing mushrooms known as Blackreach. I made my way through this place, running on vegetable soup, shouting,
2 hours of sleep, suicidal thoughts, and an Oreo, and I'm ready to fight God, or become him!
And proceeded to steal by far their most prized possession. In my last video, I also mentioned that people find this puzzle difficult, so let me show you how easy it actually works. Hit the leftmost button until the leftermost button unbuttons itself. Rinse and repeat until the puzzle is solved. I proceed to read the Elder Scroll in the time wound as instructed by the dragon and proceeded to have a concussion. Turns out looking into the eyes of creation itself can give you a bit of a headache, so much so that my mind was cast back into the Merethic era and I had visions of an ancient battle.
Alduin approaches.
So be it.
Let those that watch from Sovngarde envy us this day. If I die today, it will not be in terror.
It's no use. The scroll fell here. Now. From the wind. Sister Hawk, grant us a sacred breath to make this contract hurt to the last. You are banished! Work. Did it.
I needed to trap a dragon in Whiterun's palace, a building made almost entirely out of wood, but the Jarl said no, and that the war between the Imperials and Stormcloaks is more of a threat than the literal end of the world. I didn't like that response, so I bullied him and the leader of both factions to join me for a peace summit. In said summit, I made sure that the Stormcloaks got the worst deal possible, as their entire purpose in this war is pointless. Ulfric was not too happy about this, but I literally just killed a god so he can just... At the end of the meeting, the shady lady said she knows about Paarthurnax and says she wants me to kill him. It was now that my revenge against her that I called earlier would happen. See, without me, the blades are useless and forgotten. No one knows who they are other than some scholars from a different country.
Until he's dead. Well, I'm sorry, but we would dishonor our oaths as blades if we continue to help you.
Bye, Jaiva.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
I didn't just ignore her request, I chose to let her new position of power, being a part of the Blades, mean literally nothing and made sure she would never be missed nor remembered. With this peace summit now concluded, I successfully trapped a dragon in the wooden castle before riding it to yet another tomb. I made my way through the literal armies of undead as well as dragons, both hitting me at the same time. I did die a few times here, but I did manage to make it into Sovngarde. In order to gain access to the Hall of Valor, I did need to fight this really tall man. He does pack a bit of a punch, but I managed to emerge victorious and cross the rickety old bridge. Going into this place, I found the 3 people who fought Alduin the first time, then banished him into the future where they made it my problem. I wanted to have a word with them about how angry I was at that action, but they wanted a bloodbath instead, so I decided to just go along with them. We crossed the rickety old bridge again and had the final fight with Alduin where we emerged victorious. Sorry, this ambulance is just like really distracting me. Can someone just like die quieter, please? One moment. Alduin's purpose is to end the world. For this universe, there is a Celtic cycle where one world ends and another one begins on a seemingly endless loop. Alduin was cast forward in time at the end of the Merethic era, which is where the Elder Scrolls showed us when we read it at the Time Wound. He then popped back into existence at the 4th era, which is the present, and was set to end the world once again, and we now just ended him permanently this time.
Nice, Ron.
I sneezed! Oh, I'm not allowed to sneeze!
What this means is that this world has existed for potentially thousands of years more than it was ever meant to exist, and that we have just killed the only thing in existence that can continue the endless Celtic cycle. Congratulations, we are now personally responsible for the rest of the worlds that could have been never existing at all. I do hope you're proud for this accomplishment. And with that being said, thank you very much for your patronage. I do hope you enjoyed how we actually made it to the end of the game this time. I know that is quite rare for these types of challenges. I do hope you have a good day. Until we meet again, hopefully you forget about Delphine, because that is what I requested everyone do.